Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Game Week 38, or the final episode of the FPL Wire powered by DreamSetGo. I'm your host, Zoph. My co host, Late Riser, and I are joined by our friend, big man Bakar. How is it going, buddy?
It's going well, Zoph. I didn't have the free hit this week, so it was a week of damage limitation for me.
I
I
didn't ask
lucked
about
out with
FPL.
Richarlison.
Who said we asked about how your FPL week is going? I said, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm hoping to enjoy myself over the summers and chill and
What's the plan?
Netflix and
You've been
bit.
having some plans you were telling me about, but not revealing more details. People want to know.
I don't think they should be revealed right now. Let's talk in preseason.
No, why? Give us at least a sneak peek. What are the plans? Are you be doing some investing? You have some plans. You're planning to dive into a lot of things.
I plan on going on a vacation very soon. Hopefully, enjoy myself. It's been a draining season, to be very honest. I have some exams coming up actually next month, and once I'm done with those, I'll probably go abroad for a couple of weeks and enjoy myself, and then come back for preseason.
Man's already planning for pre-season, LR. What are your plans for the summer?
I'm going to sunny Europe. I think taking one more week of work before I'm off. Plan to visit a little bit of Netherlands, Belgium, a little bit of Italy. So excited for that. But I'm suddenly feeling the nerves because we had a chat with Suvansh Singh. A big shout out to Suvansh, who's currently sitting number 2 in the world, just 1 point behind number 1. I think within Baker's pod and our pod, we've got number 1 and 2 covered. So I think we've done our job this season. But the nerves, man, imagine how it feels going into Game Week 38. I'm actually glad I'm not in that position because I don't know how I'd be. But you had the privilege of being what? Both of you have had the privilege of being right up there. I think you were number 5 on the final days of what is it like then?
Number 5 on the final day, about 20 points behind the leader, but it's a quite different situation from Suvansh. Suvansh is just 1 point behind the main guy, right? So he's right now in a very good position. For me, it was a Hail Mary. I took a hit and a captain the differential pick and ended up from 5 to 17. But you have to go for it. He was asking us our opinion and we just said, back your gut. Ultimately, what you don't want is you don't want to have regrets like, 9, 10 down the years down the line. Remember that season where you could have won, you didn't go with your gut. You have to go what you've been doing so far. Bakar, tell us about your time. A lot of people don't know. Tell us about the time when you were the high up in the ranks.
I was actually ninth in game week before heading into game week 38. I was actually second before heading into game week 37, but before we were heading into game week 38, I dropped to ninth. So I remember very clearly that obviously there was like a 35 point gap that I had to make between myself and the first spot. And I remember captaining Leonardo Ulloa from Leicester. They were playing some relegated team. I'm not sure. I think they were playing Hull on the final day, or QPR on the final day of the season, and they won 5-0 on the final day. Ulloa scored just once. I mean, I remember the other popular captaincy picks in that week didn't do too well. So, I mean, if Ulloa had gotten a hat trick or something, you never know. I would have been even higher than fourth.
If Ujjwala scored a hat trick, there would be more Ujjwala in the Bakar household. sorry, not sorry about that one. How was your week, boys?
Decent week on the free hit. 86 on the free hit, but I went Ings over Richarlison captain, so that was sort of a dampener. The whole thing was I was sitting at 18k prior to the game week. It was just like, went on a gamble. Wanted to take a chance on the opposing captain since I owned Richarlison anywhere, but that didn't work. I think I'm about at 14k now. One last roll of the dice this week.
How do you feel about how the season's gone, Zoph? Happy with it?
Happy. I think last year I was 15k, and my aim every year just to get better than the previous season. And I think there've only been 3 or 4 moments that I could remember that I've really done things wrong. Probably 28 going for Rafinha captain. And even the KDB one, I can't even say anything last week because I think Salah was the more obvious pick. I think there's only been 2 or 3 decisions that have gone wrong, but those have been probably 20, 30 point swings. And I think that's probably 40, 50 points. Apart from this, I think I've got things pretty right.
Anything you could, you think as an FPL manager, you take into next season as maybe a learning from this one?
I don't know, because this season feels like such an anomaly, and I think next season will also be quite different because I think 5 subs is going to change the landscape a little bit in terms of players we see subbed on, in terms of what players managers use. And I think also with Haaland coming, I think City are going to get significantly stronger. You might end up being like the template. And I think the pricing is something you have to be very careful about next season, right? Because I think you have to take a decision of which way you want the game to go. Do you want the average to make it more open to the general crowd, in which case you have to make someone be able to own the likes of Haaland, Salah, TA, Cancelo, own at least 6 or 7 more popular players, the more household names. Or you go with the actual pricing to reflect what they're getting. Like Cancelo is a 200-point player. Trent is a 200-point player. These aren't 6 million, 7 million assets. To make the game actually more competitive, you're going to have to hike these guys to 8, 9. And so I don't know if they're actually going to do that. And I think it's a very important year where FPL decides which direction they want to go.
Fair enough. Bakar, how about you? How's your season been? Anything you want to take into next season in terms of learning?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Actually, it's been draining because with so many double game weeks and COVID and rescheduling, it's been very draining. It feels very different. And honestly, as a content creator, I've taken up more work. So obviously, it's been more demanding than usual. But overall, I've really enjoyed it. We're talking about the FPL season and not my personal life. But anyways, I think I've had a great season. More often than not, I've ended up on the positive side of variance, which I'm extremely grateful for, because every single decision this season seems to have been a huge swing in it. 20 to 30 points.
I'm going to clip that for every time you cry back to be complaining about bad luck.
No, I mean, I feel truly grateful to be in the position where I'm in. The last few weeks, since Game Week 29, I don't have a chip intact, and I've been in damage limitation mode ever since. I didn't have the free hit this week. Last week, I bought in Richarlison, captained him, who was only one of my 2 double game weekers, and thankfully Everton and Villa didn't go as big as they could have, and Maddison was actually the only threat to the rank. So I've kind of like countered that and weathered the storm, and now at 4.4k, I believe that's a decent rank to be in at this stage of the season. 10k was the target for me. Given the amount of time I spent on FPL, that's something I want to achieve. Even though I know Brunel hates that.
I was just about to call you out.
So if you had finished 15k, the whole season was a waste of time.
No, that's on the point. But for example, I look at it this way: if you're studying so much for an exam, you'd want an A star or something. Like, you won't be fine with a B plus or an A minus if that's the way I look at it. You have to aim to be the best.
The thing.
I'm not saying 15k is a bad rank, but it's just that top 10 is slightly better. That's just what I'm saying.
The point is, the difference between an exam and FPL is that when you're writing your exams and you're putting those answers on a paper or on a sheet or whatever, they're either right or wrong. There isn't as much of a sense of right or wrong. Think of the answers that you put start dancing and half of them go away and some random shit comes back on the paper. That's what FPL is. Right. You don't have as much control as you have in an exam. I mean, there's only so much you can control in FPL. And I think the more we acknowledge that, especially as content creators, I think better it is for ecosystem, because people should stop talking about 10k. I've just been very vocal about it and I want to continue. 10k is something that's going to be a distant memory very, very soon, the way the game is growing. And I think people should have fun playing this game. People should enjoy playing this game. And the faster you take away the pressure of 10k away from it, I think the better it is for everybody involved. That's about it.
And as a
I totally see your opinion. I totally see your opinion, but it's just that I want to sort of mentally satisfy myself that if I'm spending so much time on something, I'm getting at least some kind of reward out of it. It's just a thing in my head.
Not the oodles of cash that is sitting in the next room.
Sorry?
Not the oodles of cash that you drive into like Uncle Scrooge every day.
No, bro, no. What are you talking about?
I've seen it. The whole life, you do the whole Uncle Scrooge swimming in gold. Hashtag ad. But in general, as a pod, like, this is now our second year. We've completed 2 years. We're a young pod, but we've always been a pod that strives to improve your enjoyment of football. And as a result, an enjoyment of FPL. We're not the kind of pod that puts out like ultimate free hit draft, ultimate wildcard draft, etc. So that's what, and I hope we've been able to do that for you this season. You've been able to enjoy the football, enjoy the pod along with that. And as long as you've done that, and we've helped some way towards that, I think we've achieved our objective.
Yep, well said, Zoph.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with Pranil that top 10k isn't isn't really going to be the bar in the years to come, especially because of the information now that's available on social media and the number of players that are playing the game. And you just look at so many people who weren't even aware of FPL, a couple of years ago. They're sort of coming to know about the game. They're taking more interest. They're watching content on YouTube. They're reading stuff on Twitter. It's obviously getting tougher day by day as well. It's not just the luck element involved. It's just the fact that there are more people playing it. So I think a better barometer in the years to come will be, the percentage of managers. You have to sort of look at it relative to that, because as Zoph was saying, he's sort of looking at his own history as improving on every season, but he's also got to factor in the fact that how many more managers are playing, and that's something that needs to be taken into account, because it's the amount of growth in FPL is exponential and crazy at this point in time.
I mean, a lot of people are talking about changes that they'd like to see in FPL. And FPL, on the page where they show season history, they could just introduce a percentile column which indicates your percentile amongst the number of managers. I think that'd be one of the best changes that they make in the game, which would be a true barometer of skill instead of rank, in my opinion. And just one other point on the top 10K. Think about all those managers who've been sitting all season in the top 5, 6, 4K. I've seen so many such managers on Twitter, and the way how swingy Game Week 36 and 37
And 37,
have
yeah, absolutely.
they shot from 5K to 20, 22K. Shout out to so many of these managers. You think because of the swings that they've seen in the last 2 game weeks, they've not had a good season? I don't buy it at all. It's heavy variance that happened in a game week or 2, and I don't think we should discredit the season that they've had just because of these couple of 2 weeks. And
yeah, you're right.
It's just been the nature of the season. So I think the sooner we remove the tag. That's all.
Right. Should we move on? Start the
Yep.
Game Week discussion with our sponsor plug. DreamSetGo is India's first sports travel and experiences platform, offering a range of premium end-to-end authentic experiences across football, cricket, tennis, F1, rugby and golf, among others. From matchday hospitality to VIP stadium tours, from private meet and greets with athletes and legends to exclusive access to their training sessions, DreamSetGo curates the most fulfilling sports travel packages for fans like you. Right.
All the
One
stats
thing
that you see on our podcast is off. You're forgetting these nowadays. So all the stats that you see on our podcast are from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you aren't a member, become a member already by clicking on the links in the description below. Right, Zoph, let's get into it.
Right. Before that, I wanted to give a shout out and thanks to all our Patreons who've been with us throughout the season. We appreciate your support a lot, and we are planning certain things for next year to bring more content. If there's any particular suggestions you have where we feel we could offer some stuff to our patrons which you would like to see, please let us know in the comments.
Right, and not just the patrons, everybody who's been watching, supporting, commenting, hitting like, subscribe, just interacting with us. We've been fortunate enough to receive a lot of love coming our way because of what we do on this podcast. We just want to say thank you. We really, really appreciate. We might not tell you, but we read all the comments that we get in those underneath the screen on the YouTube channel, or whether you're interacting with us on Twitter, and we truly, truly appreciate it. It keeps us going. And a big thank you to Simon as well, who's a part of the FPL Wire team, one of the quieter members of the FPL Wire team, who's been designing everything that you see on the YouTube screen, as well as all the beautiful thumbnails that he's created. I think he's done a tremendous job. So thank you as well for being with us this season. See.
Right. Let's get started on the fixture discussions first, boys. We'll go fixture by fixture.
Sure.
There's some background noise I'm picking up. Is that one of you guys in? Is it somebody running a TV too loud or something?
Nothing at my end.
Nothing here. Nothing here as well.
I don't know. Maybe.
But I do hear something.
Right? I don't know. I just hope it doesn't spoil the audio version, which I forgot to hit record on, by the way. I just realized I'm going to have to convert the stream from YouTube. Right. Anyway, Arsenal, Everton. What a game yesterday. It was brilliant scenes.
Brilliant scenes.
I was actually really happy for Everton. I really wanted them to stay up there. They're one of the likable teams in the Premier League, and I was
very likable manager.
They
Great manager.
I like him, to be fair, but I was very happy to see them stay up, and the scenes yesterday were absolutely surreal. The way they fought back, and I'm really happy. And this sort of, and coming to the FPL context of the game, I just think it will take the pressure off them. I don't think Everton will park the bus. I think that this game will be open. If you have Saka, if you have Nketiah, I think they're good players to play this week, and I think Everton will have a go, and that might play into Arsenal's hands.
Rotation for Everton, maybe? Or do you think the Richarlison, Gordon, etc. still play? Pranil?
Lampard mentioned I read a couple of comments where, okay, Zoph, I think what I hear in the background is actually just us. Maybe a couple of seconds later. So, Bakar, do you have the YouTube video on by any chance or anything of that sort? Because I think
No,
that might
no.
that might be it. So there's a little bit of an echo there. That's all, Zoph.
No.
Whatever it is.
Okay, cool.
It is what
We'll
it
just
is.
roll with it. Yeah, Lampard mentioned that he might have a couple of changes, etc., in the final lineup, but it's definitely changed my perception in terms of how I view those Arsenal assets. Because first of all, the game's at Arsenal. Second of all, it's a Thursday, Sunday turnaround as well. So I don't think those Everton players are going to have slept on Thursday night after what we saw. I mean, Richarlison was tweeting late into the night. He had a go at absolutely everything possible. The shot he took at Jamie Carragher. I mean, it's not right and all of that, but I am not going to lie. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed watching that. I like that there is no facade there. He is who he is, and
his celebration also
guy.
when Calvert-Lewin scored, he went face first along the ground. That was brilliant. There's a note on the pitch invasions. We've been seeing them in so many games, even in the championships, in the playoffs, and all that stuff. Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Yeah, especially if people are attacking players or managers. What we saw with Vieira as well. First of all, kudos to the guy who took a chance on attacking Patrick Vieira. I mean, he's this big guy. I certainly would never do it in this lifetime. But yeah, it was great to see. I think Arsenal players are good assets. What do you do with Richarlison? I'm a Richarlison owner. I'm not as confident about starting him as I was earlier. I think he comes in the not a hard sell category.
You play him.
Bakar?
I think I'd sell him if I own him. I just think it's the last game of the season. You want to go and back your gut. I just think I don't mind taking a hit, honestly, at this stage of the season. If you're confident about a player, for example, there's Ivan Toney in that price bracket. I think I'd sell.
Interesting. So even for a hit,
same applies. Same applies to Villa players as well. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a position where I'm fielding them. Basically.
But Everton and Villa are quite distinctive, right? I mean, Arsenal are a bit loosey-goosey. Everton, I would say, have a bit more of a chance of scoring than Villa. To put them in the same basket as Villa is a bit unfair, no?
To a certain extent, yes. But I mean, Everton away from home, I don't know. I mean, I won't go there. He's not an ideal player to play this week, and I don't think he has a high ceiling, to be very honest.
Pranil, what do you think? Hit out?
I don't know at the moment. I haven't made my mind up. I'll see.
Yeah,
Is there a Lampard presser?
Still have Lampard's presser is done. He said we will go there and we'll go full pelt. Standard manager speak. What's he going to say? He's not going to say we're going to go there and like roll up and get a belly stickle. So the standard manager speak stuff. But he said we will give some fringe players a chance, etc. So you might see a Van der Beek, Ali, and stuff.
I won't say I'm 100% not selling him. I might sell him. I'm open to selling him at the moment, and I just want to see how I feel on because him and Coutinho, I think which is going to be similar to a lot of FPL managers, are the weak points in your FPL teams at the moment. And I mean, if you're looking at shifting your striker, the 2 points that are visible to me at the moment is Ivan Toney that Bakar mentioned, and I think there's Callum Wilson as well, who looked so impressive against Arsenal. Arsenal got outplayed fully by Newcastle. It wasn't a competitive game. Newcastle were all over Arsenal, and I quite liked what I saw from Newcastle and Callum Wilson. So I think if somebody's looking for a high ceiling punt, I see somebody like a Callum Wilson, brace on a game week 38. I won't be surprised. We were high on him game week 1 as well. When Wilson's on the pitch, he's going to get you points, and Newcastle are playing well at the moment. So that's maybe one of the places I'd go if I'm looking to shift away from Richarlison.
Let's talk about.
I think I would prefer Toney over him simply because it's Brentford's last home game of the season, and I've noticed that fans they really put up a good show if it's the final game of the season, and and I've been noticing Brentford over the weeks. They're creating chances for fun, and they're playing really, really well. I just think Tony has a slightly higher ceiling than Wilson. And I mean, you never know. I mean, Burnley need a point. They might just keep it tight. I mean, Leeds probably have to win. I'm not sure. They'll probably have to go for the win. So in that case, I expect that game to be more open than the Burnley Newcastle game. And I just think that Tony has a slightly higher ceiling, and he's a better pick than Wilson this week. Speaking of Arsenal Everton, do you guys think Nketiah starts this week, because Lacazette could get his last game of the season as well?
It's not a charity game. They have something very much to play for, so they have to go for their best team. And I think Nketiah is very much part of that.
Yeah, I think I agree.
In defense now, we have, in case you're looking for a transfer, do you like a Gabriel or any of those guys? Because I'll get to Chelsea. I think we're going to have some rotation concerned at Chelsea. And I was just looking to see if I was looking to sell James, which defense I would target, assuming you already own Liverpool and Man City. Spurs, we've heard there's some doubts now on both Sessegnon and Emerson Royal. So I guess in that case, it would be the Arsenal defense, right?
No, I think we're, given the fact that all the same games are likely to kick off at the same time, I'm sure we're going to have news on who traveled and who didn't. And in case we hear that Sessegnon traveled, I think that's a good enough reason to punt on him. I really like him. I think it's more or less a guaranteed clean sheet. He's got like 11 penalty area touches against Burnley, 4 chances created, 2 of them were big ones. Was unlucky not to have gotten an attacking return against Burnley. And, we know under Conte how attacking the wing backs are early on, Reguilon and Doherty in the season. So their XG upper 90 is really impressive. And I think he's going to be a big differential as well. So if you're in the market for a defender, I mean, I think Sessegnon is the way to go this week. If he's fine, just wait for news.
I think what you do if you're looking to swerve defenders off is go as cheap as possible, take a heads off, and spend some money on the attackers. Because I think Bakar will tell us game week 38 historically is just a game week for goals. Clean sheets are few and far between, and I think you just go with somebody who has a chance for a clean sheet because of how unpredictable the game week is, but go cheap and spend funds up front. That's what I do.
I don't think that's what Bakar would say. The free hit draft he posted, I was 5 at the back, Bakar.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with it, because yes, I mean, historically the final day of the season tends to be more high scoring when you compare the game week 1 to 37 goal averages to the game week 38 goal averages. Obviously we have a precedent that game week 38 is more high scoring, but for this season, when you look at the teams, I just think the gulf in class between the top teams and the bottom teams, some of the fixtures we see, I mean, Spurs versus Norwich, Chelsea versus Watford, Liverpool versus Wolves, I see each of these teams shutting their opponents out and winning comfortably. And all you need from a defender is an assist, and you get like a 12-pointer. So there's actually a big ceiling to target. I don't mind spending big at the back, but I mean, for Sessegnon, I won't look at his price, because he's actually extremely underpriced, and he has massive potential at this stage of the season.
I think if you're free hitting, you have defenders from teams called Manchester City and Liverpool, and that's about it. And then you go goal hunting with all of your other picks. That's what I'd have done.
Right. So move on.
Yes.
Brentford Leeds, I think we've covered. What do you think of the likes of Gelhardt? Is he worth starting this week? I don't know, Bakar, you have Gelhardt. What are you looking to do with him this week?
Yeah. He actually came on for Mount for me, and I got an assist out of him. So he's been a hero for me. I mean,
He's blushing again.
Second.
Blushing again. Yeah.
I do when some of my differential picks come off, right? But yeah, he's second on my bench. I don't mind sort of fielding him in case I need a filler. I won't take a hit to sort of swap him out. I think he's a decent player to have on the bench this week in case of rotation at Chelsea especially.
I think you start him. I think if you're looking at X Chaos, this is going to be one of those games which is very, very high up on X Chaos, because like Bakar mentioned, Leeds have to absolutely go for it. And Brentford are a team capable of taking advantage of Leeds going for it. And, they will leave space behind. And I think this could be easily one of those 2-2, 3-2, 3-3 games. If I was to pick one of those games which could see many goals, Brentford Leeds would be right up there for me. And I think whether
we'll come to my team later, but I don't think I can bench him.
Yep, but there's just one caveat. Bamford apparently is available. He said he's been training really well. He might just toss him in this game. But I think Gelhardt has been playing so well. I think it might be alongside Bamford, not
Yeah, I think he just produced one of the moments of the season. I mean, that goal.
assist.
Did you see that goal?
That
And
assist was
I mean,
brilliant.
that assist.
The extra touch he took. Who does that? It's incredible.
Who does that right at the end of the season? And then the ball on the plate. It's incredible. It absolutely blew my mind to see that. So yeah, I see him starting. I think I'd be very confident of just playing him if you own him. I think you've gotten lucky there and stay with. Not gotten lucky. I think you saw the talent in Joffrey, but I think you start him. Zoph, why don't you break the tie for us? If you had to replace Richarlison, and if you go either to Wilson or Tony, where would you go?
Tony,
just because of X Chaos?
Tony is, I think, X Chaos, and I think he wants to put himself in the shop window. I don't think he wants to be at Brentford next season. He posted the whole video of the Leeds celebrating. So it's time to back up the talk with the walk.
Yeah, there's a little bit of bad blood between Leeds and Tony as well. So he's one of those guys who's going to, make sure he's trying to score because he wants the one up on those Leeds United fans. So yeah, I do like that.
Definitely. Move on to Brighton West Ham. Danny Welbeck.
You know what I like as a punt if somebody's looking for a left field punt, because a lot of people have been talking about Eriksen, but what about Bumo? Just because of the kind of team that Leeds are and that's going to leave space open at the back, if one person is going to run behind the last man, that's probably going to be Bumo. Has he been playing? I haven't.
Yes, he has been playing, but then Wissa has been the
He has been,
player.
but he's playing in. And Bumo's been playing slightly wider. He's not playing as centrally as he was earlier on the season when Tony and Bumo were playing up front in the 3-5-2. That's not been the case in recent weeks because actually Eriksen is pushing up from midfield and Bumo's in the wider. I think I prefer Eriksen to Bumo actually, or Vissa's actually nice as well because he's getting into goal scoring positions. He's playing on the left these days, and his numbers aren't bad either.
Yeah, Wissa is
Eriksen,
fine.
I was surprised. I was looking at the data. He's just behind KDB for chances created in the last 6. So those numbers are looking really, really good for
Interesting
Eriksen.
to see what he does in the summer.
Yeah. I think their managers sounded fairly confident that they've got a good chance of keeping him next season, which be
It's all about the money.
Yep. I think if a top 6 club or a club playing in Europe comes for him, he might just
Spurs,
go.
Conte might go for him because there's a whole Spurs connection and the Conte connection. It would fit like a glove.
Right.
Move
Who do you want? Just personal preferences. If you had to pick one of Leeds or Burnley to shape, who do you want staying?
Leeds. Sorry, Burnley fans.
Bakar?
Yeah, I want Leeds to stay as well.
Yeah, same. We're all Leeds.
Just a more fun team to watch.
Just speaking to Burnley, I was quite surprised by how well they did this game week. I expected them over the 2 fixtures to concede over 5 or 6 goals, but I think Nick Pope single-handedly has saved, at least from the highlights, what I could see, 5 goals. I don't know. I don't care what the XGP or whatever what says, but some of those saves you just are jaw droppings. I don't think any other keeper in the division makes those saves. Absolutely out of this world.
He's been doing it for weeks now. He's been in really good form.
Yeah, and I think that was a large reason for their slump also, because they relied on their goalkeeper so much, and this has been a part of their plan since the Heaton days. Their goalkeeper often bails them out, and when their goalkeeper sucks, they become basically like what Wolves are now.
Yeah, but I still can't believe it. Every time I'm looking at this XG stats on a Monday, Burnley are still in the top 5, but they're looking at the last 4 or last 6. They are playing loosey-goosey football.
I don't think the last 2 games since they went to a back 5, they've been playing loosey-goosey at all. This in 37, they were quite defensive.
Their XG is actually inflated over. Even yesterday they got the penalty, so the XG got a bit inflated. And before, I think this week as well, a couple of weeks ago, they got a penalty which Cornet missed, if I'm not mistaken, a few weeks ago. Some of those numbers are inflated. Their XG from open play hasn't been as good as their overall XG.
Correct.
But if I'm recollecting the highlights and some of the game as well, I mean, Aston Villa did have a fair amount of chances against Burnley, and it was because of Pope, which is why they didn't score. So that does play in my mind a little. And if Newcastle can dominate a team like Arsenal and play them out of the park, I think they're capable of a performance against Burnley as well. But Bakar is right. I expect Burnley to sit back. They'll be more cautious than a Leeds United, because Leeds United have to go for 3 points no matter what.
Halftime game state, right? You can play the game till halftime and see where you are and then mend accordingly. If Leeds are winning by halftime, then they'll probably open up more.
Yep.
Do you guys see Leeds winning though? I think it's unlikely. I'd be surprised if Leeds stayed up.
I think it's the least predictable thing we have this season, I think if you had to call top four, you'd think it's going to go to Spurs. If you think you'd call the league, I think you'd think it's going to go to City. But I think the Burnley versus Leeds United thing could really go either way, because Brentford are a good team. So are Newcastle. So this one could really go either way. I think halftime game state might have a role to play here, for sure. Like if Leeds are a goal down in the first half and Burnley are 0-0, I think Mike Jackson is going to say, just stay, just hold, just make sure you're holding. That's all.
It's a dangerous game though.
Yeah,
Because Newcastle could go. Ultimately, I think in Burnley have to go for the win. You don't sit and wait, because you never know what happens the last 10 minutes. The game can swing in even in 5 minutes. It can be Leeds could be down and swing it back and to go for a win. So it's going to be
That's the season done.
That's the season done. Move on to Brighton West Ham.
Yep.
Couple of players I want to talk about here. I think Welbeck, if you're looking for a striker replacement for the likes of Bookie, Dennis, etc., Welbeck is on fire. I think he's got returns now in consecutively 4 games.
Top for non-penalty XG and big chances last 6.
There you go.
I was happy to see that statistic. Man's done well. He's right at the top and he's getting really good chances as well if you're watching the highlights. But it's West Ham, which is why I'm not really interested in this game from an FPL point of view, because West Ham know how to sit. West Ham know how to soak in the pressure from a team like Brighton. And I'm just not that's why I'm not interested in Jared Bowen either, because it's Brighton. And they know how to play. Maybe
I think Bowen is a decent pick this week, because ultimately we're looking at Salah replacements. We're talking about the likes of Maddison, etc. West Ham have incentive. It's a direct shootout between West Ham and Man United now for the last Europa League spot. And Bowen is on fire. Bowen is their striker. Bowen is involved in everything they do. So I like Bowen a lot. And he's a big differential. Nobody in the top 100k has Bowen right now.
I agree, but I just think there's more upside, especially in the last week, if you look elsewhere. Yeah. Bowen's a good pick, but like just for a 1 week showdown, because the opponent that West Ham have, I think there's more upside.
Sorry, Brighton, yeah, because of Brighton.
Brighton, that's about it.
Yeah, I think this is a game you can afford to swerve at this stage of the season. I don't see upside with any of the assets in this game. It's tough to predict.
Yeah, if I had to pick one asset, it'd be Bowen though. What do you think he comes in at next season?
8.5.
8. Yeah, at least 8 is what my thinking would be.
Something similar to
Clint. I expected
Clint Dempsey had a very similar season to Bowen, and that's what there was a similar place in the table as well. Fulham 8.5.
Cool. Let's talk about Burnley, Newcastle.
What do we think? We already touched upon over here. I think Burnley, there's not really anybody to target. Newcastle, you play the guys you have,
or you buy Callum. I still stand by that. He looked really good. He's an elite striker. If he's on the pitch, he's going to get you points. I rate him more than Ivan Toney from an FPL point of view as well. Because just about how dynamic he is. He's one of those very few, like when you're talking about Brentford playing well and Ivan Toney playing well, it doesn't necessarily translate into FPL points, which is exactly inversely proportional to a Callum Wilson. He's right at the end of it. I remember us talking about Callum Wilson when he was playing under Steve Bruce, and no matter what game he'd still get one big chance in a game. And now he's playing for Eddie Howe. And if you look at the highlights and see what he did against Arsenal, he got 4 or 5 chances where he could have scored. So in terms of explosiveness, I think Callum ranks slightly higher compared to Toney, despite Toney maybe having a better matchup. That's all. I think Callum is more directly related to FPL points. That's all.
That's fair. He's quite direct in that sense.
Yeah.
Nobody
else I'm interested in.
Move on to Chelsea, Watford. This is quite a lot to unpack over here.
No, I think. What about those of Dubravka? Do you play? Do you bench? There's quite a few of us with
Dubravka, Ramsdale, Dubravka. Yeah. I think in that aspect, I like Ramsdale a bit more, just purely because Everton have nothing to play for.
Agreed.
Yeah, I have both, and I think I'm playing Ramsdale as well.
I think Ramsdale, Dubravka, Pickford in that order. But probably Schmeichel, I think.
Yeah, I think Burnley will probably score. It's not a bad option to play.
It's not a bad option, but again, game state.
Yeah.
The game state could change. It could be quite dynamic at halftime, etc., etc. I don't really like Dubravka as much, but move on to Chelsea.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Bakar, with James and Alonso?
Over the moon.
No, I don't think you should be over the moon this week on going into Sunday. Are you not worried about their starting spots?
I am, to be honest, but I think they've done their job. To be fair, I think if they've given me 7-8 points, this week, that's enough. I mean, I don't have too many high expectations from them. I expect one of them to miss out at least, um, probably James, because Alonso is playing his last game, so I'd expect him to play as the left wing back. But I'm obviously not sure. I have both of them. I'm starting both of them. I'm happy to keep both of them. I would even have them on a free hit because their ceiling is absolutely mental if they start. James in particular, Watford have conceded the highest number of chances down that flank this season. Sorry to bring up the flank theories of. I know you don't buy into it, but
I don't buy it because I'll tell you the reason why a lot of those chances were conceded when Danny Rose was in the team.
I know, but even this calendar year, this calendar year.
Okay, fine. This calendar year is a fair point.
Yeah. Even this calendar year. Yeah, I checked those numbers for the calendar year, and they're actually worse for chances conceded down that flank this calendar year as well. So no matter who plays as the left back, that it's a trend which is continuing. So I mean, it's there's huge upside, and if you're chasing rank, if you're chasing like 30-40 points, and your rival doesn't have James, I think he's a good captain to have this week as well. I don't mind going there personally.
No, I would not go there. I think as a captain at all, because I think there's a high risk of a bench appearance, of 5 minutes of the bench or something like that. Because what I think now, see, the game yesterday was quite flat in general, even though we technically had something to play for in terms of the third spot. And it's very different in terms of Chelsea. We don't really need to sign off on a high, etc., because there are literally no fans in the stadium. Half the stadium is empty because we can't sell tickets. And it's a sort of state where the whole club is just like, we don't even want to play this last game. It's not a game where we want to sign off in the front of the fans, sign off as a flourish. And there's something that Tuchel has indicated that he wants to play the players who have not played a lot over this time. So look at the guys who you're talking about. They're talking about Kennedy. You're talking about Sarr. You're talking about the likes of Saul. Etc. Azpilicueta and Rudiger are two guys who are definitely going to play. Aspi, I think, is probably going to be playing right wing back. In that case, you'd have Kennedy playing on the left side. I am personally quite confident, and this is completely a personal opinion, that neither James or Alonso will start.
Big call.
I think one of them will miss out, and I don't know. Even if James is benched, I mean, I was reading the Chelsea forums, and the fans were asking Aspi to be replaced on the 26th, 28th minute. 28th is his shirt number, right? What is the shirt number again?
28.
Yeah, 28th minute. Yeah,
it's not a number that's very easy to carry at Chelsea. That's John Terry's number.
Yeah, 28. So, I mean, that's also a possibility, but I don't know, man. I won't. It's a case where you don't buy, don't sell. Let me put it that way.
No Alonso farewell theories of ex-narrative is high on that one.
I don't know, because it just seems there's no reason to play injured players, but there are a lot of players in that position who haven't been. Kennedy's just been sitting. We didn't move him on in January. He's not played a single game. He was on the bench again last night. It seems a chance. I mean, if you want to give Alonso a chance, just stick him up top. He score more goals than all the other guys we have. But I don't think so personally, because I don't think he's officially leaving. I know the guys who as such are leaving for sure are Rudiger and Christensen. Christensen, I don't think deserves to be given a send-off. Aspi, again, because he was benched the last game, very high chance of starting. That's why I'm more worried about James, because I don't think he's going to play Aspi as right centre-back. Just don't see it.
I don't know. I think when it comes to the likes of Mount and James, they're like Chelsea, they come through the ranks, they're Chelsea people, etc. as well. So I think they just get the last home game of the season because of that. Despite your skepticism when it comes to, Tuchel wanting to play, I definitely not sell either of them.
Yeah.
If you own them, because if they're starting, you're looking at a 15-point.
But you need to have subs. You need to have subs at the ready, and you need to factor that into your decision making.
Yeah, I know, but I think a sub and 2.3 points is a small thing compared to the potential 50-20 pointer that these two bring at the helm. And it's just because of the defending that we saw that was on display against Leicester. I mean, Watford were terrible. They were far. They weren't on the beach. They were in the ocean. They were swimming. They didn't really care about the sand. They just weren't defending. I mean, the way Foster was keeping, etc. as well. It's just because of how terrible Watford have been that it could easily be a final 6-0 scoreline. And if it's a final 6-0 scoreline, because I think James did really well in the game against Leicester, that one could have easily been a 15-pointer as well. Him being involved in a couple of goals as 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 more Reece James 18-pointer, and I see that happening if he's playing. It's as simple as that. So I don't think you swerve if you own either of them.
Yes, but a lot of people are
Would you
free
buy
hitting.
though? That's the big question. Would you buy either of them though?
No, like a lot of people are free hitting this week. I think it's a great week to free hit. I wouldn't go anywhere in Chelsea except Mount.
I would go with Alonso and James just because of the upside they have.
I
On
think
a
if
free
you
hit.
go,
Absolutely
I
mental.
think
With I guess
I
with
think
subs,
yeah, on a free
you
hit.
could load up with subs, I guess, on the free hit, then that's fair enough.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
nailed on subs who are 4.5 million and under to start Reece James and Alonso. I think you do that.
I mean, the people like Nketiah, like 5.5 million on as a sub, he's a perfectly good deputy to have in that case if need be. So I mean,
I
just
just think
target the
you
upside.
go with the double Liverpool defense, a City defender. That's your back three on a free hit.
Just the upsides of. Just the upside. Your wingbacks bring the upside that nobody else does.
Exactly.
It's just so flat yesterday. I think even if they play, I'm expecting it to be quite flat again on Sunday.
Even if I didn't see the game, but even if it's flat, the
But it's
numbers told me that it
Watford.
was 1.7 xg for Chelsea and 0.01 xg for
0.05
Leicester.
for Leicester.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying, right? It still dominated a team like Leicester as well. So and this is Watford, who Leicester beat by 4 or 5 goals. So you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
The fixture's too good to pass up. That's the
Exactly.
point. Even despite the slight threat of rotation.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
fair enough.
Let's talk about
Right.
Palace United. Ten Hag's going to be in
Our new
attendance.
manager is going to be. Yes, I'm excited about that. I've been consuming way too much Ten Hag content for the past 2 weeks, and I can't wait for the next season to begin when our team will be more FPL relevant. But from an FPL point of view, if you own Zaha, play him. If you don't own Zaha, don't get him. I think there are better punts out there in the midfield bracket to have. I don't think we'll be as bad as people are expecting us to be. And that's about it. That's where I am with this game. Don't buy United players for sure.
What are you feeling, Bakar, regarding Zaha's potential this fixture?
I think he has great potential. I have him on my bench actually. He's first on my bench, which is making me a bit uncomfortable. But I don't know. I think I prefer Saka and Nketiah over Zaha this week, simply because I don't know. I expect United to score as well, and
So you're worried about that one clean sheet point that Zaha is going to lose.
no. My point is that I mean, the thing is, I expect Saka and Nketiah to have a greater share of the goals, and I think they can do well in terms of bonus as well. I don't know which way the Palace United game is going to go. It could be, for example, 1-1, 1-2. United could score a couple, even if Zaha scores, I think he won't. He gets dispossessed quite a few times, likes the occasional yellow card. So I don't know. I think his ceiling is slightly lower than the Arsenal assets this week.
I don't know, man. The X narrative is high on this one. I'd start Zaha. I'd bench Nketiah and I'd
We'll
start
get to your
Zaha.
team. We'll get to your team probably. We'll see who you can accommodate. I think you'll need
He's
him
a
as a sub.
perfectly good option to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were going to start Gerhardt as well. I can start everyone.
I think you
Just
probably
save the
need
bench
to.
booster for 38 Bakar.
Yeah.
Leicester Southampton.
Let's
talk
come on.
Leicester Southampton. There's plenty to target over here. Maddison is on absolute fire.
But Zoph, would you go Maddison or Barnes if you had to go one this week?
Definitely Maddison, and I'm debating now between Maddison and Mane for my Salah transfer. I'm not really sure, but again, I don't know. Leicester.
So we have Mount.
Yes, I already have Mount. I already have Son as well, so we'll talk about that once you get there. But I think Maddison and Vardy, great options to target. On a free hit, I would definitely have either one of them. Both.
I don't mind Harvey Barnes either, just because of how Southampton tend to play, which might leave some space for him, and he's always in and around the chances. Yes. I think he's a better asset with Jamie Vardy in the team as well. Because Vardy tends to make those runs, occupies the defenders, which opens up space for Barnes. So
definitely,
I like Barnes as a pick as well for this week.
Definitely. Move on to Liverpool Wolves.
Yep.
What do we think? The comments now from Klopp today don't indicate to me Salah is going to start. They sound quite cautious, don't they? What do you guys think?
I think you wait for potential news on Sunday. And I think you have a plan if you get news and if you don't get news. And if you don't hear any more Salah news, you roll the dice and get rid. That's what I'd do.
Agreed. Yeah.
If you don't have Son, go for Son. I think a couple of Liverpool midfielders and Sadio Mane and Luis Diaz, both great options. Sadio Mane is one of the Game Week 38 specialists. He tends to end the season with a bang almost always, and I quite like him. He's been in, through Game Week 38 specialist. He's been in great form since he's come back from the AFCON. He's been one of the best premium assets to own in the game, which we overlook because of the Salah FOMO, which we rightly feel. So if you can afford Sadio Mane, I think he's one of the best punts out there, and I would have no qualms captaining him against Wolves team who have been absolutely dire for the best part of the second half of the season.
Agree. Who do you like between Diaz and Mane though?
Mane.
Yeah, Mane. More on that Game Week 38 point that Pranil was making on Mane. He's averaging over 12 points per game over the past 3 Game Week 38 appearances he's had, and 2 of them were actually against Wolves, and he scored twice in each one of them. So he does like playing against them. I mean, he's at home. He's had like 15 and 16 points his previous 2 appearances against Wolves, and he's been rested. He's likely to play 90 minutes. Even if Salah starts, I expect Mane to get 90. I'm not sure Salah will play, the whole 90, even if he plays. So Mane just seems to have the higher ceiling this week, and Wolves' defensive numbers are actually atrocious. They're 19th for XGC over the past 6 matches, despite the fact that they've played Burnley, Brighton, Norwich. So I really like that option.
Is this a fixture to target though with your Salah replacement?
Yes.
Yes, why not? And Zoph, in your case, I think Mane has he's slightly more explosive than Madison, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. He's got more brace potential, definitely. But I'm having a hard time deciding between him and Diaz. Him and Diaz. Diaz's creative numbers are really good.
Mane is a center forward. He's more talismanic than Diaz. Diaz does a lot of the flashy stuff, the running around, beating players as well. But Mane is the guy going to be in the center of the box when they're crossing, and he's the more poacher. He's the poacher in that team, especially when Salah is not there. So I expect him to be in and around the goals. I have very fond.
I also think he's a slightly higher chance of playing 90 minutes than Diaz.
Why is that? Bakar,
why is that?
Just because he's more talismanic, and I mean when you look at Diaz, I think Jota is more likely to come in place of him, and which has been the case in recent weeks. With Mane, he tends to play, when he's been rested, he tends to play 90 almost every single time after he's been rested.
The only real doubt in my head is if Salah is unfit and not playing, then either Jota or Firmino are going to come into the team for 38. And both of them like to preferably play as center forward, which makes Mane go to the left and Diaz go to the right, because that's what happened when Jota, Mane and Diaz have played so far this season. So that maybe curbs his potential just a tad bit. That's the only concern I have.
And I'm also I'm also worried if City are like, let's say 2-0, 3-0 up at halftime. How hard do Liverpool go? Do you like sort of conserving legs, make sure players don't get injured, etc.?
Yeah, 70-minute subs. 70-minute subs is what you'd see. But you chance it. I think Mane is just explosive, right? He's the guy who scored a hat-trick in 6-7 minutes for Southampton?
I think, something like
that. Yeah.
Something like that. Plays for the best team in the country in terms of attack. So I think you just go there.
And right, Trent and Robbo, I think, are obviously great picks. Don't really need to say much over there. Play with confidence.
Nope.
Move on to City Villa.
Yep.
Sure.
Lot to target over here. I think let's talk about your Villa assets. Sell for a hit. I think, Bakar, that was your view.
Sell for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Pranil, are you that firm on that?
Agreed. You have a little bit of fun in Game Week 38. You go haul chasing, and there are picks at different price points which are capable and have price potential. So, I think most FPL managers have 1 or 2 weak spots in their starting 11 at the moment, which involve either Richarlison or Coutinho, or Watkins or Ings. I think these are the kind of players that people are looking to sell, and we've cited many options to replace them.
I don't know. I personally hate hits in Game Week 38, but I guess if you're moving to the right players, you could be seeing upside there.
Especially if it involves captaincy. If you're set on Heung-min Son captain and you're firm on that, then it takes away the argument a little. But if you're bringing in a player you're definitely going to captain, a hit is nothing.
That's true, but I've literally been in the assumption that everyone and their dog is going to captain Son this week, right? I've been operating on that assumption. Do you guys think there's any reason not to? I can't.
I mean, there will be vocal managers on FPL Twitter saying that they're going to look for something different and do something, especially people who are behind in mini leagues. You're expecting all the league leaders to captain Son. You're looking at all the players, looking at OR, looking at captaining Son. But there are people who are chasing rank or chasing a mini league, and they might swerve differently. That said, I expect his effective ownership to be above 150% for sure.
Easily.
That's where I am.
Easily. I don't think go against that. But let's just dial back to City. I think
I'll just come in a second.
Yeah. Bakar, who do you like as a midfielders over here? Now, obviously, De Bruyne is the obvious one. I think if you already own Son and you're not tripled up on City, do you like De Bruyne over somebody like a Mane?
No, I just think Mane has slightly more potential this week. I expect City to win, but I don't think it will be a huge win. I think it's probably going to be a low-scoring game, probably 2-0 for the likes. KDB will do well, but I just think Mane seems to have that brace potential, which probably I don't think KDB has to that extent. I mean, KDB can easily do it. We've seen him score 4 goals, but I think if I was picking between Mane and KDB, I would probably go with Mane. What about you?
I'm a KDB fanboy, and I'd always back him on a game which means a lot. So I'd go KDB all day. If you ask me, in fact, as a captain differential, if you want to move away from Son, I think the only one I would look at is Kevin.
Really? I mean, I think I would go Kane. If not Son, then Kane.
Only because of the Kane news that we've got that he's battling a stomach virus, right? And Conte has indicated that he will still play. But then if you've been sick and not managing the stomach virus and all that stuff, that's why I'm not that keen.
Zoph, I'm not buying into that. I mean, if Kane is like 50%, he's definitely going to start. And he's going to play 90 minutes.
The question is not if he's going to start. The question is going to be playing to his full tilt level. So obviously, if you have Kane, you don't sell him and all that stuff. But I'm just talking about in terms of you want to go away from Spurs with the captaincy, I like KDB the most.
I think I'd rather go with Mane or Chelsea guy, to be very honest.
I'm with Bakar on this one.
Yep. I'm a KDB fanboy. I keep saying that. So I'll just look at any excuse to big up KDB.
Yeah.
What about the other guys in terms of your Mahrez, Foden, etc., Sterling? Anyone you think there is worth a punt?
Foden, if at all you want to go there, but I'd go elsewhere if you're looking for a punt for Gameweek 38.
If you're looking for a punt, Mount is an excellent option as well. So if we haven't talked about Mount for captaincy, but Mount has
for captaincy is it's a bit much.
11 attacking, 11 attacking returns in 5 appearances against the bottom 3 this season, averaging over 13 points per game over them. He loves to be a flat track bully, and he's been rested. So, I mean, he does have explosive potential as well. And if you're looking for a punt, if you're chasing a big lead, I don't mind going there personally.
There you have it from the explosion specialist, Mr. Bakar out there.
Oh, sure.
But just to add to what you had to say, he plays on the same flank as Reece James as well. You know, if you're talking about flank weaknesses, the same thing that applies for Mount applies for James as well. Same thing that applies for James applies for Mount as well.
Let me just go back to City now. If Luke hasn't made his thread yet, it's a good time to ask. Who do you think your front 3 would be? Pranil, you first.
Foden, Jesus, and either Mahrez or Sterling.
Pick one.
Sterling.
Foden, Jesus, Sterling, as per you. Bakar?
I think Foden, Jesus, and Mahrez.
Interesting. So basically, you guys are pretty set on Foden, and Jesus is a third guy that you're not confident about.
But I'm not a City specialist. There are a couple of people who are doing excellent work. You just follow them, go as per the data they've done, and pick a punt. But that said, I'd look elsewhere for a punt, because I also feel like once City score 2 goals, they'll look to control and not really go gung-ho, etc. as well. So yeah, that's where I'm when it comes to Manchester City.
I think he'd personally play Foden center forward, Jesus on the right, Grealish on the left. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, Grealish also is playing against his old club as well. So he's been playing well of late. So
the old club factor, I always have a bit of a romantic when it comes to that.
Yeah. Just that this little unpredictability with the City lineup isn't there when you're looking at punts from other teams at the moment. Even if you're looking at Mason Mount, because I think he's nailed on to start, given that he played 0 minutes against Leicester as well, right? So you're definitely thinking he plays right against Watford, and that might be enough because he's playing against Watford. So
yes, I do agree. I definitely want him over Foden this week. Should we move on to
Foden worth keeping though if you have him, right?
Yeah.
Foden worth keeping if you have
I
him.
have
right?
Foden. And
Yeah.
I'm looking to him to deliver this because he's one of the lower differential guys and he has a potential to pop off.
Yep.
Right.
Norwich Spurs we've covered already. I think Pukki is not a bad. Do you think Pukki is not a decent
Did you
sub?
wait?
What?
People who might be looking at a mid-price punt, I think Kulusevski is as good a punt as any, given the fact that they have motivation and are playing Norwich. So even if you're doubling or tripling on Spurs, I don't mind Kulusevski as an option because eggs and baskets are something we don't do.
Yep. Kulusevski is definitely decent. Now, how do you see that game playing out? Do you see it being like a 2-0, 3, like big Spurs win, little bit cagey? What do you think?
I think it's going to be
Potential for Spurs
4 or 5-0 Spurs.
I'm with Bakar on that one.
I expect Spurs to score, but
I think Spurs will absolutely.
I think Norwich might score as well.
Yeah, they could, but even if you're buying, let's say, Cess.
Anyone can score against anyone.
Yeah.
I know, but
Doesn't
just a fine.
good.
I think maybe I'm optimistic as a Pukki owner. Pukki is my first sub. I'm just trying to maybe rationalize that. I don't think he's a bad first sub. I think a lot of people will be in that situation where they might need him to come on if there's rotation at Chelsea and stuff.
Yeah, in that case, it's fine.
Cool. Move on to our teams. So anything else to touch over here?
Yeah, we can move on to our
Nope.
teams.
Pranal, this is yours. I have the triple Spurs.
Right. I have Ramsdale, Trent, Robbo, Cancelo, James, Kulusevski, Son, who currently has my armband, Saka and Coutinho, and Kane and Richarlison. I'm currently looking at the current planned moves are Coutinho to either Diaz or Mount, and Richarlison to Wilson is where I'm at the moment. But nothing is confirmed. I'll wait right until the final 15 minutes before the deadline to see if we get any news, because there is some news. I think it's a good idea to wait for news until the last 10-15 minutes. Don't wait longer than 10 minutes because you might face issues with the server and might not be able to confirm your team. But I think I'll wait until the last hour, see if there's any news, and then make my moves. Especially because we are hearing these rumors about Spurs having the bug, etc., as well. So yeah, and also be really, really careful about who you're following and listening to. I think verified journalists and just a couple of Twitter accounts are the way to go if you're going to be relying on anybody, because a lot of fake in the nose ITKs just show up on the final day of the season and have ruined seasons in the past.
Yep.
So unless you're following journalists or a couple of ITKs that are well known, and follow Let's Talk FPL stream Andy on Gameweek 38, because he also is in the Euro, especially Liverpool, couple of Liverpool ITKs. I think these are the places to go to for news on the final day of the season.
Some flashbacks from the mention of journalist news, Bakar.
Yeah, for sure. You could see me blushing in the background. That's one of the experiences I was reminded of.
JJ,
What happened? I don't know.
Jamie Jackson to you.
It's better if you don't know, Pranal.
Your team, Bakar.
Let's move on. Yeah, so I have Ramsdale in goal, James, Robertson, Trent, Cancelo, Alonso, Mount, Saka, Son as my captain, Nketiah, Richarlison. On my bench, I have Dubravka, Zaha, Gelhardt, and Ramsey. I have 5.4 million in the bank, and I think the move is very obvious. Richarlison to Kane.
But how much do you have in your FPL team?
The same. Richarlison to Kane, that's fairly obvious, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. If Kane is available, which he looks like he will be, that's my move. And now you can talk about my bench and whatnot. There's nothing's worth a hit. I don't see anything worth a hit over here.
Nope.
So
Nope. I think you have good subs for your Chelsea guys also. You're fine.
yeah, that's why. I mean, I think I have a decent squad. I don't think I need to do anything else.
Richarlison to Kane sees you through.
Yeah.
It's my team. Edison in goal. Cancelo, James, Robertson, Trent in defense. Foden, Salah, Mount, Saka, Son, captain in midfield. And Nketiah up top. I think Pukki is the first sub and no other subs. So I've got 0.2 in the bank, and I think Salah to Mane is probably the only move.
Yeah, get Mane's off. It's fun. But wait for news, because I think people who are swerving on Salah early You don't know what happens, and we could see Salah starting, and then he becomes one of the best differentials in the game. So wait until the last half
Zoph.
hour.
Yep.
Yeah, now that you were talking about earlier that you might be chasing, will you go for a differential captain or are you going to captain Son?
I'm the differential captains thing I've realized now is not for me. After doing the whole Richarlison thing, I'm going to stick to the template EO thing. That's what works for me.
Fair enough.
Right. Let's do a quick Q&A, guys. Bakar, can you still stick around? Do you have to head out?
I have 10 to 15 minutes.
Cool. Let's do a 10-minute Q&A. Send in your question, guys.
Favorite moment of the season, boys? FPL
Hmm.
moment of the season?
I'll have to think this
James
one.
Brace at St.
Reece
James
James.
Park.
Reece James. Reece James versus Burnley.
Newcastle. Okay.
This is
Versus Burnley when I captained.
Yeah. For me, it has to be Coutinho's act as well, because it was the first FPL meetup in Bombay as well, and he did well, which was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed that. Since then, I've been heavily biased towards him as well.
Yep. We had some super chats earlier. I'm just going to try to scroll up and just read them from Ankit Deb.
I'll get that. I'll get that. Yeah.
You got that?
Zoph.
Cool.
Yep. Questions: KDB to Son, Luis Diaz or Mount? First of all, would you do KDB to Son?
Yes.
Luis Diaz or Mount?
Yes.
Luis Diaz or Mount.
James and Alonso or Robbo and Matip?
Robbo Mantip.
Ankit sounds he's Ankit Deb, right? He sounds like a Bengali, but this behavior is like a pakka Marwadi at the moment.
No, it's a Gujarati behavior. What are you talking about?
4 questions for the price of 1 super chat.
Very Gujarati
Right.
behavior.
I would go with. I think I prefer James and Alonso over Robertson and Matip, especially if he has a decent bench.
What about Matip?
No comments.
Sorry. Next questions from Abhimanyu Jogani. Ramsdale, Cancelo, Rudiger, Alonso, Emerson, KDB, Foden, Havertz, Kulu, Necktie, and Kane. Should I stick to this team? Decided his whole team. Should I stick to this team or do KDB to Mane or get Son and Madison Bowen for KDB and oh my god, this is too complex a question. Do KDB to Mane is what I understand from your question, Abhimanyu. Thanks for the question. Cess or Ivan Tony? Easier question.
Tony.
Tony for me too.
Sessignon.
The right answer is Callum Wilson though. Diaz or Mount? If you had to pick one.
Who on Mount?
Diaz.
Mount.
We've already answered this.
You know what? It's Gameweek 38. Listen to your gut on this one. There's really no right answer. It's
Yeah.
one game. Random things happen over a period of one game week.
Just have fun.
Right. Weatherby is saying thanks. She's really enjoyed our content. Thank you, Weatherby.
Thank you, Weatherby. Thank you for supporting us throughout.
Thank you, Vede. It's just a shame you weren't better at Wordle.
Sarthak's asking if he should cap Lukaku. Zoph, your thoughts there?
No.
No, he says. Nikhil Suri is asking.
Why not out of interest?
Because it's Zoph.
Because I don't know, A, he'll start, and B, he's quite rubbish.
That said,
So are Watford.
That's it. There's a certain Chelsea account on Instagram that we follow, and if they tweet out that Lukaku's starting, I think
he
he's a great
tweets it
captain.
75 minutes before that. It's a fixed thing. He does it 75 minutes
Okay,
before.
you're
Deadline
getting-
is 90 minutes before. You're not getting any help from him.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Like if we knew that Lukaku was starting against Watford,
then
he's
I
a
don't
fat
mind.
track police.
Then I don't mind. I don't mind,
Yeah.
especially as a free hit, but I don't know, as a transfer, I don't really. I think they're better moves in terms of forwards.
Fair enough. Start Dubravka or Ramsdale. All of us are on Ramsdale for that one. We have a free hit. A super chat from Nikhil Suri. He's on free hit and 17 behind. Rival has City, Arsenal, but no Spurs or Leicester. He's asking if his team is good. Edison, Trent, Aspie, Cess, Son, Madison, Mount, Diaz, Saka, Kane, Vardy. What would you change, guys?
It's a pretty decent team.
That's a decent. I just swerve Aspie. I don't see upside with Aspie. So
Aspie is also-
either you go cheaper or you go Alonso or James there and with cheaper sub. That's about it. The rest look good to
He
me.
hasn't got a third Liverpool, right? I'll probably add Robbo there.
Yeah. And I try fitting in Mane if you can.
He's gone
So
Diaz
Saka.
instead. From looking at the budget, I think he should be able to.
Yeah. He's gone Vardy, Kane, and Son. That's what's
that's
eating
where
up
the money is. Correct.
Yeah. Given Tuchel's comments, Mount or Bowen? Mount for me.
Mount.
Easily.
Yeah. Reshan is asking thoughts on Jota. Yeah, there is a narrative where he's playing against his old club, but are you confident he starts? I'm not.
Nope.
Like, if he starts, he could easily explode, but I'm just not confident he starts. Charles Mick has asked a question. Hello, so chasing 15 points. Would you do KDB and Richarlison to Diaz and Vardy or Barnes and Kane?
Barnes and Kane, I think.
Zoph? Utkarsh?
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying.
He's eating.
Sorry.
Okay.
Very late, early dinner.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
would KDB and Richard to Diaz and Vardy or Barnes, Kane? Diaz and Vardy.
I'd go Barnes Kane. I've been siding with Bakar throughout, but honestly, it's a 50-50 decision. Just go with what you feel like. This is worth listening to your own gut. If you're not going to listen to your own gut on 38, you have to live with your decision just for half an hour or 1 hour after game week 38 ends, and that's about it. Then you're forgetting everything on Monday anyway. Also, just an update. I don't think we're going to be doing any post-season pod. That's not what we do. We're done after the next 5, 10, 15 odd minutes. Maybe we might do a 30-minute episode next week if at all we're feeling it, but it's been a grueling season and we just really want a break. Guys, ask us some fun questions. I mean, this or that questions. We've covered everything there is really to question, to cover on the pod. And I think if you guys aren't asking us anything interesting in the next couple of minutes, I think we'll be done for the season.
I think it's time for me to leave.
Yeah, Bakar, you can leave. Any last words for
That
your
was meant to be a
listeners?
joke. That was meant to be a joke.
Nehal, can you just type out your question? The free hit that we missed earlier. And Karan's asked, don't own Son. Captain Kane or Mane? Plan to get a Alonso and Vardy for it. Get Mane. I have a good feeling about Mane. Zoph, are you on Kane or Mane, Captain?
Kane.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't even feel right answering these questions, which are 1 week punts with enough upside for both. I mean, just listen to what you feel like doing. You know who the good picks are, then place your bets. Is Son essential to own if chasing in the mini league? No, he's not essential. If you're chasing, especially. Nikhil's asking if you should downgrade Saka and do Janssen to James or Alonso. No, play Saka. I'm expecting Everton to be not as sharp, especially because of the fact that they played on Thursday and they're playing again on Sunday. And I think they barely slept on Thursday as well. So play Saka for sure. I'm just checking if Nehal sent in his question.
Let's just stop
Waiting for
the
that
super
one.
chats so we can wrap up.
Yeah, guys, stop your super chats. Great. A lot of people are saying we've helped them. If we've really helped you through the season, just click on like and subscribe. That's all.
Thank you.
That really, really helps us. So make sure you're hitting like and subscribe.
Let's just do a
And,
quick. What is your team, do you think, going to? Any likely locks? I know we're talking about in general for your team next season.
I don't know, man. I'm going to be template as fuck game week 1.
It depends. Depends on the fixtures, and it's hard to say. I'm sure I'm going to be tempted by Mitrovic again.
Yeah, I think going from back to front, I think the guys who like, and this is obviously irrespective of price, Trent, he'll probably be there in defense. In midfield, Salah, if he stays, probably, but I don't know if Haaland comes, I might be tempted to go De Bruyne, like a De Bruyne and Haaland.
Who do you think is the next keeper? Who do you think is the next 4.5 keeper?
I don't know. I've heard good things about Forest. If they come up, I think they have a decent keeper. Not much.
I think, except I think for pricing, you can't really decide. But there are teams that I have a very
Newcastle,
sharp eye on.
I'm expecting Newcastle to be much better.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have 4.5 guys, I think Newcastle is someone to look at.
I think Leicester are going to be very, very interesting this
Leicester
season.
as well.
Do you think the Newcastle guys will be 4.5 next season? The defense and Dubravka?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But Trippier, somebody like a Trippier, if he's at 5-0 rather than 5-5, I really like that. One thing I
think
can
there's
say
one
for
team that's
sure,
gonna-
Bakar is going to go 4 at the back.
On the basis of what?
Because you like it big at the back.
Okay.
Let's sign off on that note.
All right, guys, we'll see you next season. Karan's asking, will this off season end with another Bakar dance move or Zoph taking a hit? I think a Bakar dance is. Come on,
Zoph taking
Bakar,
hit is not happening.
Throw in a little
Absolutely.
dance just before the season ends. Come on, let's end the season on a good note, Bakar. Come on, we'll join you. Come on, Bakar. You're talking about explosion all episode, and then you're just doing like a deela. This, come on, there's a little more firmness in the way you're exploding.
Easy ho jao.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you for listening to us. I know we've been broadcasting, I think, 38 episodes. It's almost like 50 hours plus of content we've done this season. Thank you.
Zoph, we've done 50 episodes, not 38. We've done.
Oh yeah, we've done the
close to
previews
50
and all that. So I think we're closer to 60 hours plus. And again, I don't know if we've affected your rank or much. And like I said at the beginning, I hope we've helped enhance your enjoyment of football. And that's been our objective from day one.
Yeah. We're not really experts or anything in the game. We're just people who've played this game for a long time and love the game. So I think the experience counts for a little more than anything else. But we're also learning as we're talking to each other. And I think it's a great platform to make friends, talk to people, interact with people, get involved in the Twitter community. It's a great place to be. And we'll see you next season. We're not going anywhere. Take care, guys. Good luck for the season.
See you next
Boys.
season.